Okay, so remember, this is the Kunya Gyalpo, the supreme source. It's known as the all creating monarch. It's known as the all creating king. And in this particular translation by Eva Neumaier-Dargyay, she has translated it into the feminine as the motherly Buddha. This Kunya Gyalpo is a Dzogchen Semde text that encompasses the 17 tantras that kind of migrated from India, it looks like, because they're attributed in the colophon to Sri Singha. And I'm not sure he could have composed 17 tantras all by himself. So it's most likely a kind of rescue text, something like that. There's a lot of warring and assassinating of kings and demolishing of Nyingma temples and all kinds of stuff going on between the 6th and the 12th centuries. So the fact that we have these 17 tantras is amazing. So let's see what else we can explore here in this wonderful text that we're very lucky to have. Just to give you a kind of pretext here, uh, context, in the previous paragraph, it kind of was going into, yeah, probably good to scroll back up, kind of going into a creation type of thing, where there is a twilight language here. You may know that Buddhas are personifications of aspects of mind and reality. So back then, they didn't necessarily have the terminology, although I would argue that the Sanskrit gets pretty nuanced, like Rupa Loka and Kama Loka. But they did personify Buddhas, and this is because when you see like Kuntazampo and Kuntazamo in Union, that's what they had at the time, and we still use to personify, to show this science that it's in a humanly form, Kuntazampo and Kuntazamo, because our mind, we are in a humanly form. Our mind is kind of creating that. And so it's in the image of our mind, but in no way meant to be ultimately understood as an external Buddha, separate from us. So the idea is that Kuntazampo Kuntazamo, which is Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, empty cognizance, right? Dharmakaya and Sambhogakaya in union, creating all appearances as the energy of that union. And that's essentially what it's going into here, okay? And I like describing the Dharmakaya as feminine. That makes more sense to me. So hopefully that's enough background and we can go on to the next paragraph. Furthermore, the retinues cognizing her own being are such. The retinue resting in her, i.e., the Buddhas of the past, the retinue realizing her objective, i.e., the present Buddhas, the retinue that brings forth her deeds, i.e., the Buddhas to come later, because they are inseparable from her own being, there is only one method. After that, the all creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, absorbed into her mind and heart all the retinues so that they were blessed with her own being. She then let the self originated pristine awareness become lucid. To endow all things with reality, she then dwelt as one in the void focus. Bindu, after she had united all things. So that's an interesting translation of Bindu, void focus. Wow. Hmm. Maybe they were onto some stuff that I'm not onto with that translation, but typically that's Tigle, known as sphere, a sphere of light. It can be the whole sphere of phenomena. Dharmadhatu is a kind of giant bindu, or it can be tiny little like pixels. But here it says, so self-originated pristine awareness become lucid. That's the aspect that can be a little hard to understand, how there's a lucid part of our mind responsible for holding up reality. We don't even really consider that our mind might be volumetric, it might be way beyond what we consider space or our planet atmosphere. It may be in a dimension which has pixels, volumetric pixels, so it's everywhere. And we really could be ignorant to that. If I was to subscribe to anything, I would say this collective is being created by our minds. But that's for us to go test, right? It's not a belief system. It's a type of realism, in a sense of there's emptiness, but that's the ultimate truth. So, in that sense, it could be considered a type of realism. Maybe I'm not a philosopher. So here it says, after that, Samantabhadra, and that's Vajrasattva, who abided through her in the great void focus, so the bindu of her own being, emerged from this state and sat down with a mind of joy and a pure and bright appearance in front of the all creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity. The all creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, spoke to Samantabhadra. Samantabhadra, am I whole? Generate a mind of joy. Am I whole? Produce a pure and bright continence. Am I whole? You have come forth from me. Am I whole? Thus she spoke. Then Samantabhadra addressed her. And remember, she is your mind. That's the original kind of womb of your mind here, represented as masculine in other translations. But here we have the privilege of seeing it in the feminine. But please don't lose context of that, okay? And Dorje Simpa now is referring to the cognizance that sort of comes from that. You know, we can think of the Dharmakaya as like a quantum field. It has a noise there, like an infinite potential for anything that's constantly alive, just like the quantum fields, you know. And basically, that gets permeated with some type of consciousness arises from that field. So, very similar to masculine and feminine, symbolically, we can see there. And so, in this case, Vajrasattva, Dorje Simpa, is that cognizance, that Sambhoga Kaya. He's the enjoyment body, okay? So, O teacher of the teachers, all creating sovereign, is the void focus of the non conceptual Romid also the teacher herself, or is the void? I'm going to say Bindu, okay? This void focus thing is kind of strange. Bindu should be more accessible to everybody. That means the basic space of phenomenon. Or we can say kind of a sphere might help. Void focus is a little bit abstract for me. So, or is the Bindu of the non-conceptual also the entirety of retinues? Or is the Bindu of the non-conceptual also the entirety of teachings? Or is the Bindu also time and place? Or How does the teacher of the teachers teach if everything abides in the nature of this Bindu? For what purpose do the retinues circulate as her retinues? Why is the teaching taught to the retinues? How can it be that time and place are one? Thus he asked. Interesting. Really, it makes so much more sense. A male and female being here kind of in union. Remember, if they're communicating, they're in union. There's non-duality there since they're communicating. And remember, it's a giant metaphor right now. Obviously, probably creating some confusion throughout history, because although it's explicitly stated as a metaphor, um, people have still held on to externalizations. So thus he asked, after that, the all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, gave Samantabhadra the following instruction. O great Bodhisattva, direct your mind towards this instruction. Let me explain the meaning. O Samantabhadra, mind as such, i.e. I, the all-creating sovereign, am the central vigor, Ningpo, of all things. This central vigor, which is non-conceptual, is the primordial Bindu. The Bindu in its final value, Dun, is without conceptualization from the primordial. The teacher, the teachings, the retinues, time and place, they emerge from me as the primordial void focus, Bindu. My own being is known as the Bindu, aka void focus. So here, retinues might be a little bit unaccessible to you. I'm pretty sure it's talking about the peaceful and wrathful deities, and this is kind of, again, a personification of, now we could say, positive and negative particles. Really, we can. It's the same exact concept as and then all the muons and electrons and everything that's coupled, and all these pairs and these kind of even in our DNA, right? We have this CATG, the four strands that make up the DNA, also have their opposites, their negatives. So, okay. Such the all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity spoke. That's getting into a tongue twister. Such the sovereign perfect purity spoke. All right, we can continue. This is the first chapter, the introduction. It's very biblical, right? Thus she spoke, all creation. Imagine if the Bible hadn't been distorted and the Old Testament kept some of its metaphoric value a little bit more. Now, I'm not a biblical expert, but I would imagine they would see the same metaphors in the Abrahamic teachings, because we do have the Gnostic texts like the Nag Hammadi, or the Gospel of Mary and the Gospel of Thomas, I believe, too, sentences of Sextus and many others in there that talk about all being mind, like the Dhammapada, it sounds like, why these were left out by the Archbishop of Egypt, and why the metaphoric value was lost in the Old Testament, I'm not sure. I can only speculate. So after that, the all-creating sovereign, the mind of complete purity, dwelt in what is called samadhi. I don't really like that word contemplation. It's kind of too structured, too rigid for me. We can say samadhi. I think keep the Sanskrit word there, because it's perfect. Everybody knows what samadhi means. It's a state of rest. The Mahamudra. So dwelt in what is called a samadhi of all things emerged from her. Then Samantabhadra arose from the own being of the retinues, and, approaching with a smiling face, the teacher, the all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, asked her and sat down. O teacher of teachers, all creating sovereign, as I am in an integrated way present in your retinues, what is then the objective of my existence? Tzal, please teach me about the objective of my existence. Wow, so this is revealing a lot in the Twilight language. This is really coded right here. If you could just go back up. So, all creating sovereign mind of complete purity dwelt in Samadhi, all things emerged from her, right? So now we're talking about Tzal, the appearances. You may hear that word a lot. That's actually what you're introduced to when you first see awareness. You may not be in full like Buddha cognizance, but you can hinge on, if we're going to get specific here, hinge on the luminous part, the kind of part you can notice at first. And yes, we kind of objectify it at first, but even the objectification itself is subject to self-liberation. So this is incredibly metaphoric here. Right in his approach with smiling face, the teacher of teachers. So it says, I am in an integrated way present in your retinues. That right there, to me, sounds like the cognizant aspect is present in all appearances and all that tzal. Tzal can relate to both, I think, appearances as suchness and then the cognizant aspect as luminosity. Tzal can relate to luminosity. So let's see what she says. Such he spoke. Then the all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, laid out all things on the basis of her own being, her actuating essence, and her compassion. So right there you have she, right? Her own being is Dharmakaya, her actuating essence Sambhogakaya, and her compassion is Tuji, all appearances. So you have the three kayas there, and the three aspects of your mind. Her own being is emptiness. Her actuating essence is the cognizance. Her compassion is empty appearances, the energy of mind. Isn't that interesting? How you can find so many dimensions in this stuff? And imagine the translators probably didn't even know, right? You have to have many years of experience to even start to understand the kayas and things like that, or really be into it. So really, although Twilight language hides the Dharma from a lot of people, it is really cool too, even if we're only seeing a little bit. I feel like I'm only catching like probably parts of it, right? There's probably more that I'm missing. But it's very cool to find these little correlations. So it says here that from the one great self-originated awareness, the five great self-originated awarenesses come, is as follows. The great self-originated awareness is hatred as attachment, ignorance, jealousy, and pride. So look here, it says the five great self-originated awarenesses come. That's the five Buddha families right there, and the five lights, five elements. So and it says as followed. So it must be talking about samsara then, which is a distortion of self-originated awareness. So the self-originated awareness of the five Buddha families, the five awarenesses, as they are called in some translations. I like that translation. It's not bad. It makes it more accessible than five Buddha families because people think there's five external Buddhas that I need to worship. You know, instead of seeing five aspects of your mind, the five wisdoms, right? These are the five wisdoms they're talking about. But the flip side of them are the five kleshas here, the five poisons. Hatred, attachment, ignorance, jealousy, and pride. So these five self-originated awarenesses bring forth the five great elements as a cause of adornment. She set up the three great realms, kyams. That can, yep, okay, as a receptacle of what is perishable. That the cause of adornment obtained its five forms as one is as follows. There is the form of earth as the cause of adornment. There is the form of water, fire, wind, and sky as causes of adornment. All these forms were obtained as one. Now, let me make a point here. Those people that are getting really stringent about Dzogchen and probably not watching our YouTube videos, but still, I'm going to put my flag in the ground, all right? Here it's talking about adornment. If you read the practice of Dzogchen by Longchenpa, a collection of writings by Longchenpa, where he specifies Semdi, Longdi, and Mengagdi. Now, everybody wants to classify the Kunya Gyalpo as Semdi, but I'm pretty sure it has pieces of all three classifications. And so the word adornment, for example, is used in Longde, and Longchenpa clearly defines that in the practice of Dzogchen in that book. So in Mengagde they call them empty appearances, in Longde they call them adornment, and Semdi they call them displays of your mind. So they're already using Semdi and Longde, okay? So the difference is they're even more nuanced, and maybe we'll go into that as things arise, but we don't need to right now. So the five awarenesses or five wisdoms were organized according to the five families. The family of the self-originated awareness of hatred, that of the awareness of attachment, ignorance, jealousy, and pride. The beautiful appearance of the forms of the families associated with the five self-originated awarenesses was set up as the reality of those endowed with a body, i.e., sentient beings. So if it says sentient beings, we're definitely talking about samsara here. Beings that are misconstruing their five awarenesses and thus reifying the elements and reifying cyclic existence. So as reality was set up in accord with her own being, even the all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, dwelt in this manner. So asserting that even with samsara is beyond samsara and nirvana, just like Longchenpa always says, even if samsara was set up, the all-creating sovereign's cool, no worries, unaffected. So then Samantabhadra again abode in front of the all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity. O teacher, all-creating sovereign, from the self-originated awareness, one with your mind, the five forms of self-originated awareness come, and from that the five causes of adornments come. O all-creating sovereign, what is the reason for this? Fact that the five self-originated awareness adopt five different forms. Such he asked. The all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, explained further. O great Bodhisattva, this you must know. Besides me, the all-creating sovereign, the maker, there is no other maker. Ooh, you hear that, everybody? Your mind is the all-creating sovereign. Don't let that go to your head, because it already did go to your head. Now you gotta rectify that. You took advantage. It's like a kid that jumps in their parents' car and just joyrides it, created samsara. So none besides me creates reality. None besides me establishes the teacher's three forms of manifestation. Kusum. So ku there is body and sum is three. Chikni sum. 1, 2, 3. So none besides me establishes the hosts of retinues. No, and they're using language that caters to the people of the time there. None but me establishes the host of fundamental particles. I feel like we could say that safely. So none besides me establishes the things as they are, tata, in their reality. Samantabhadra, by me you are. I shall show you my own being. My own being has three aspects. Nampa. My own being is the mind of perfect purity. Pure is taught to be the nature of the limpid, dakpa, in its three aspects of totality. Perfect is taught as the nature of the limpid, or we can say clear. Your mind has the clear light. So clear as encompassing the three reasons. The clearer is an all-encompassing, like the sky. The nature of what is called mind is taught as the ceaseless, all-encompassing, all-creating sovereign. Everything is made, all is generated in the mind of perfect purity. Such she spoke. This is the second chapter of the all creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, in which is explained how reality has become apparent. Yeah, and I invite you to do your own interpretations, look at it metaphorically. Definitely don't interpret that literally. Um, but you can find a lot of information that correlates with modern science, and you can tie a lot of things together when you start to see kind of do the code here, kind of decode it. So then the all creating sovereign, mind of perfect purity, spoke about how I have become in the past the maker of all things. O great Bodhisattva, lend your mind to the ear. Understand my words by virtue of listening. Oh, I am the all creating sovereign. I am the mind of perfect purity, the maker of all. If I were not existent in the past, no vigor were there for all things to originate. If I was not existent in the past, no sovereign were there who made all things. If I were not existent in the past, none were there to be a teacher from the primordial. So by past, that's a little bit not a my favorite translation there. It's probably saying if I'm not there as the kind of initiator, as the basis would probably be my preference there. If I were not existent in the basis, none were there to be a teacher from the primordial. If I were not existent in the basis, none were there to teach from the primordial. If I were not existent in the basis, that which is known as retinues would not be there from the primordial. Because obviously, when we're talking about the Dharmakaya, this is outside of time. And just look at the Mula Madhyamaka Karika and Nagarjuna Madhyamaka to verify that we're talking about outside of time here. So we have two options then. Is this a Semdi text or kind of mixing in Sutrayana, or is it a translation issue? And I'm willing to say it's probably translation. Not knowing, that we're dealing with the fourth time here, timelessness. So Samantabhadra, do not have doubts. Also, you, O great Bodhisattva, are an emanation of me. Such she spoke. Then Samantabhadra addressed the all-creating sovereign, mind of perfect purity. O all-creating sovereign, mind of perfect purity, you are from the primordial, the great one, because you, the creator of teacher, teaching, and the retinue, as well as all things, have made them. How then do all things come into existence? It seems that you, the creator, have made them. Has then one teacher appeared, or many? Is there one teacher or many? Are the retinues one or many? Such he asked. See, even a Kunyagalpo's made out of questions. If we didn't have Samantabhadra asking questions right now, we'd have no information. Uh, but I'm liking the way they did this. They made a little play out of it, like a dialogue, and it's really nice. Could you scroll back up, please, Yeshi? So, okay, so we'll just continue. So then the all-creating sovereign, mind of perfect purity, spoke again. Oh, the self-originated pristine awareness, sole teacher of all, appears as the three aspects of my own being, and with regard to the number of teachers, they come into existence as three. Now, okay, here is a lot of information too. It says pristine awareness is the sole teacher of all, and that's what I've been sharing with you all. The time of guru worshiping and Lama following is, well, at least in this group, is done. You can follow your awareness as the primary teacher. Yeah, and you'll have all the help you need with that. Through the guides and the sangha that we have here, and the inquiries we do, and all that, all the Dharma time we spend together. So, but the sole teacher of all, yeah, thanks. I highlight that. That's so important. So it also says here they have come into existence as three. I'm pretty sure they're talking about Dharmakaya teachers, Sambhogakaya teachers, and Nirmanakaya teachers. Sambhogakaya is considered like Vajrasattva. Tara is considered Dharmakaya. Medicine Buddha could, depending on context, could be Sambhogakaya or Dharmakaya. But Nirmanakaya is like Guru Rinpoche, Buddha Shakyamuni. Garb Dorje is considered a Nirmanakaya Buddha. So appear as the three aspects of my own being, I would say that also correlates with the three aspects of Shi: essence, nature, and responsiveness, co-emergence. So, coming into existence. Because I am one with suchness, Deshin Yid. Okay, Deshin Yid is another one like Sem Ni. It's a negation. It doesn't assert anything like ontologically, right? It doesn't have an existential conclusion. It says neat means not there. Okay, so it's a non-existence in that case. Just like semni, sem means conditioned mind. Semni is the lack of conditioned mind. And then we can say what's there is Rigpa. Sure. But what is Rigpa? Empty. So the reality of all things is this suchness. Nothing is except myself, i.e., the mind of perfect purity. From me emanated the teacher's three forms of manifestation that teach the retinues of three forms of teachings. And that could be the three main yanas. But this is an intertextual text. Okay. So I can see how some of this stuff got confused. Yeah. But okay, I'm just going to continue. So my actuating essence has been manifest as one, and because my own being is declared to be one, all is one as the all-creating sovereign retinue. But the retinues of the teachers, though emanating from me, are of three divisions. Such she spoke. All right, and we'll get back to Dorje Sempa's questions on the next run through this text. Thank you, dear Sangha. The Mo Sangha is here, and everybody on YouTube for joining and listening to that presentation of this really ancient, wonderful text. Deep bow to you.